I'm Colonel Leticia Mendes, F-22 Raptor pilot, United States Air Force, 14 years active duty, commander of the 27th Special Operations Wing at Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada. I hold top secret clearance with SCI access, completed 3 combat deployments in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria, and I've led 47 classified missions that saved American lives. But none of that prepared me for discovering that my own sister, Colonel Patricia Mendes, intelligence officer with the 90th Missile Wing, had been selling my classified mission reports to an international arms cartel for 3 years, causing the deaths of 12 soldiers under my command. What I did next ended her military career and exposed a corruption network that reached the highest levels of Air Force intelligence. In my place, would you have done the same? Have you ever been betrayed by your own blood wearing the same uniform? Watch until the end and tell me everything in the comments. I respond to every single one. It was during Dad's retirement ceremony at Peterson Air Force Base, Colorado, at exactly 18:47 hours on March 15, 2024, when I discovered the betrayal that would destroy my family forever. General Robert Mendes, my father, was receiving his final honors after 35 years of distinguished service, and the entire Mendes military legacy was gathered in the Officers Club. I was adjusting Dad's 4-star insignia when Patricia's phone buzzed on the table next to his retirement plaque. The message preview showed coordinates that made my blood freeze: 33 degrees 15 minutes north, 44 degrees 25 minutes east, the exact grid reference for forward operating base Thunder in Iraq, where my special operations team was currently deployed on a classified mission. Those coordinates were compartmentalized top secret information. Only 7 people in the entire United States Air Force had access to that operational intelligence, and Patricia wasn't one of them. But I was. My security clearance included oversight for special access programs, and I had personally classified that mission under Operation Desert Shield 2. Seeing those coordinates on my sister's phone was like watching classified documents being handed directly to enemy combatants. My combat instinct kicked in immediately. This wasn't a coincidence. This was active treason happening in real time. The phone buzzed again before I could process the first shock. Another message from M. Rodriguez. Payment confirmed. Next target location by 0600 Zulu time tomorrow. My military mind calculated the variables instantly. Patricia was receiving payment for classified intelligence about my current operations. The timestamp showed the message originated from Syria, where Miguel Rodriguez operated his arms trafficking network. I'd seen his name in dozens of intelligence briefings as a high-value target who supplied weapons to insurgent groups actively killing American soldiers. I felt my vision blur for a moment of pure rage. The desert sand from 3 deployments seemed to mix with tears of fury as I realized what this meant. My own sister, wearing the same uniform that represented honor and sacrifice, was selling operational intelligence that put 47 American soldiers under my command in immediate danger. This wasn't just family betrayal. This was providing aid and comfort to enemies of the United States during active combat operations. Under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, Article 106A, espionage, this was a capital offense. Patricia returned from the ladies' room wearing that perfect smile she'd maintained since childhood, the one that had fooled our parents, our commanding officers, and, apparently, the entire Air Force intelligence community. Leticia, Dad's looking for you. They want family photos by the F-16 static display. Her voice carried familiar warmth, but now I heard deception in every syllable. She reached casually for her phone, but I had already memorized every detail. 3 missed calls from Rodriguez, 2 encrypted messages with operational coordinates, and a banking app notification showing a wire transfer of $50,000 received at 18:34 hours. My military training kicked into overdrive. I needed immediate confirmation of what I suspected, and I needed it without alerting Patricia that her operational security had been compromised. Patricia, we need to discuss Dad's speech privately, I said, maintaining perfect military bearing despite the emotional hurricane destroying my core. There's something in his remarks that requires clarification. I led her to Dad's private office in Building 1480, where his 35 years of service decorations covered every wall. Bronze Star, Silver Star, Distinguished Flying Cross, medals earned through real sacrifice, not blood money. I closed the door and activated the white noise generator, standard operational security procedure for classified discussions. Patricia's expression shifted subtly, and for the first time in 28 years as sisters, I saw genuine fear in her eyes. Her military intelligence training was telling her that something had changed in the operational environment. She was right. Everything had changed. I was no longer looking at my sister. I was looking at a confirmed threat to national security who had been operating under my nose for 3 years. Patricia, I need to ask you a direct question, and I require complete honesty. Have you ever shared classified information about my operational assignments with unauthorized personnel? The question hung in the air like cordite smoke after a firefight. Her reaction would confirm everything. A half-second pause before responding. Deception indicator number 1. Eyes darting left instead of maintaining direct contact. Deception indicator number 2. Slight shoulder elevation suggesting defensive posture. Deception indicator number 3. My interrogation training from Survival Evasion Resistance Escape School was screaming that she was guilty. Leticia, what kind of question is that? I'm your sister. I would never compromise operational security. But she couldn't maintain eye contact while saying it. The words sounded rehearsed, like she'd prepared this denial for exactly this moment. That's when I knew with absolute certainty that Patricia had been planning this deception for years. She'd probably wargamed scenarios where family members might discover her activities. What she hadn't planned for was me discovering her communications in real time during active operations. But what Patricia didn't know was that I still had administrative access to every classified system she'd ever touched. My position as Special Operations Wing Commander included oversight responsibilities for compartmentalized intelligence, which meant I could audit digital access logs for any personnel under investigation. She thought her intelligence training made her invisible in classified networks, but she'd forgotten that I outranked her by 2 pay grades and had operational authority over the same special access programs she'd been illegally accessing. The tactical advantage was mine, but I needed more intelligence before executing any countermeasures. Patricia, your phone received several messages during the ceremony. Were those related to your current assignment with the 90th Missile Wing? I watched her microexpressions carefully. Another pause. Another lie incoming. She was calculating how much I might know while trying to maintain plausible deniability. Classic counterintelligence behavior when an asset realizes they might be under surveillance. Just routine coordination with other intelligence officers, nothing that would interest you. But her hand moved instinctively toward her phone, protective gesture indicating high-value target behavior. She was treating that device like it contained information worth dying for, because it did. It contained evidence of treason that would result in life imprisonment or execution under military law. I made a command decision. Maintain operational security while gathering additional intelligence for a complete damage assessment. That night alone in my quarters at the Distinguished Visitors Lodge, I accessed the classified network using my SCI clearance and began the most painful investigation of my military career. The digital forensics were devastating. Patricia had illegally accessed 23 classified files containing operational details for missions I'd commanded between January 2021 and March 2024. Every unauthorized access occurred 24 to 48 hours before enemy ambushes that resulted in American casualties. The mathematical correlation was impossible to explain as coincidence. The timeline was crystal clear. January 15th, 2021, Patricia accessed my mission briefing for Operation Thunderstrike in Afghanistan. January 17th, 2021, Taliban forces ambushed my convoy at the exact coordinates specified in that briefing, killing Staff Sergeant James Morrison and wounding 6 others. March 22nd, 2022, Patricia downloaded tactical approach routes for Operation Desert Wind in Syria. March 24th, 2022, ISIS fighters were waiting at our ingress point, resulting in the death of Technical Sergeant Maria Santos and Senior Airman David Kim. My sister wasn't just selling intelligence, she was directly responsible for killing American soldiers under my command.
Soldiers who trusted me to bring them home safely. Soldiers whose families still sent me Christmas cards thanking me for my service. The weight of that realization hit me like ground-to-air missile impact. Every tactical decision I had made, every operational plan I developed, every classified briefing I'd attended had been compromised by the person I trusted most in the world. But they didn't know that I had also discovered the full scope of their operation. Rodriguez wasn't just buying intelligence from Patricia. He was running a network of corrupted military personnel across 3 service branches. Bank records showed payments to personnel at Fort Bragg, Naval Station Norfolk, and Marine Corps Base Quantico. My sister had helped build an espionage ring that was systematically betraying American military operations across the globe. The next morning, at exactly 0500 hours, I stood in the secure compartmented information facility at Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado, reviewing intelligence that revealed the true scope of the conspiracy. Patricia's financial records showed wire transfers totaling $847,000 over 3 years. Each payment corresponded to a specific intelligence leak that resulted in enemy tactical advantages. But the money trail led to something even more devastating. Other Air Force intelligence officers were involved.
Colonel Michael Hayes from Air Force Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Agency had received $340,000. Major Sarah Chen from the 25th Intelligence Squadron had banked $185,000. Captain Robert Torres from Special Operations Intelligence had accumulated $97,000 in payments from the same Syrian accounts. My sister hadn't just betrayed me. She'd recruited other intelligence professionals into systematic treason against the United States of America. I felt the tactical situation becoming clear. This wasn't just about Patricia's betrayal. This was about dismantling an entire corruption network that was actively getting American soldiers killed. My military mind shifted into operational planning mode. I needed to gather additional intelligence, identify all compromised personnel, secure evidence that would withstand court-martial proceedings, and execute a mission that would end this conspiracy permanently. But first, I needed allies I could trust, absolutely. At 0630 hours, I placed a secure call to Colonel Marcus Thompson, Dad's former aide-de-camp and current commander of the 1st Special Operations Security Forces Squadron. Marcus had served with our family for 12 years and held Dad's complete trust. More importantly, he commanded elite military personnel who specialized in counterintelligence operations. If anyone could help me execute a clandestine operation against corrupted Air Force personnel, it was Marcus and his team. Colonel Thompson, this is Colonel Mendes. I need to discuss a time-sensitive operational matter that requires absolute discretion. Can you meet me at the SCIF in Building 1840 at 0800 hours? His response was immediate. Roger that, Colonel. I'll bring my most trusted personnel. Marcus understood military communication protocols. When a field-grade officer requested immediate SCIF access with operational discretion, it meant national security was at stake. But what happened next would change everything, because at exactly 7:45 hours, as I was preparing classified briefing materials for Marcus, Patricia called my secure line. She never called my secure line. Ever. That phone was reserved for operational communications during active missions. Her voice was different, strained, nervous, like someone operating under extreme stress. Leticia, we need to talk immediately. Something's happened. Rodriguez is demanding information about your current mission, and I think we're both in danger. For the first time since discovering her betrayal, I heard genuine fear in Patricia's voice. She was scared. Really scared, which meant the operational environment had changed dramatically in the last 12 hours. Either Rodriguez suspected that his operation was compromised, or Patricia was trying to manipulate me into revealing how much I knew about her activities. My counterintelligence training suggested this was a desperation move by someone whose cover was blown. Patricia, where are you right now? I asked while simultaneously checking the GPS tracking on her Air Force phone through my administrative access. She was at Peterson Air Force Base, in the parking lot outside the base exchange, alone.
not the location someone would choose for a casual conversation about family matters. This was the behavior of someone preparing to flee or someone setting up an operational meeting. Either way, my sister had just confirmed that the situation was escalating beyond family betrayal into active enemy contact. I made the command decision that would define everything that happened next. Patricia, meet me at Dad's office in Building 1480 in exactly 15 minutes. Come alone and bring your phone. I was implementing a tactical plan that would either save my sister from enemy manipulation or confirm her as a willing participant in treason. Either way, in 15 minutes, I would know exactly who Patricia Mendes really was and what she was willing to sacrifice for money. But what she didn't know was that I had already contacted Marcus and his counterintelligence team was already in position around Building 1480. She also didn't know that I had copies of every communication she had had with Rodriguez, complete financial records of every payment she had received, and documented evidence of every American soldier who had died because of intelligence she had provided to enemy forces. Patricia thought she was walking into a family conversation. She was actually walking into a military tribunal. At exactly 0800 hours, I watched my sister approach Building 1480 through the tactical scope mounted on the roof. She moved with the cautious gait of someone expecting surveillance, confirming her intelligence training was intact. But she didn't detect the 6 special operations personnel positioned around the building perimeter, or the electronic surveillance equipment monitoring her communications, or the fact that every word she had spoken in the last 24 hours had been recorded and analyzed by military intelligence professionals.
The moment of truth had arrived. In approximately 60 seconds, I would discover whether my sister was a willing traitor who had sold American lives for money or a compromised asset being manipulated by enemy forces. Either way, the conversation we were about to have would determine whether Patricia Mendes walked out of that building as my sister or as a prisoner facing charges of espionage, treason, and conspiracy to commit murder against United States military personnel. Patricia entered the building at exactly 8:02 hours, 2 minutes late, another indicator of operational stress affecting her normally precise military timing. She was carrying her phone, a tablet computer, and what appeared to be a manila envelope containing documents. Her facial expression showed the strain of someone operating under extreme pressure while trying to maintain normal appearance. This was the moment I had been preparing for since discovering her betrayal 18 hours earlier. The tactical execution phase was about to begin. Patricia walked into Dad's office like she owned the place, that familiar confidence masking whatever operational stress was eating her alive. But I could see the microtells, slightly elevated breathing, defensive posture, eyes scanning for threats instead of making direct contact. Leticia, thank God you're here. Rodriguez contacted me directly this morning. He's demanding real-time intelligence on your current deployment, and he's threatening to expose our entire family if I don't comply. The word R hit me like a .50 caliber round. She was trying to make me complicit in her treason. What exactly did Rodriguez say? I kept my voice steady, professional, like I was debriefing a junior officer instead of confronting my treasonous sister. She pulled out her phone and showed me a message that made my blood boil. Colonel Mendes knows. Provide current location or family pays price, 24 hours. Rodriguez wasn't just threatening Patricia, he was threatening our entire family, including Dad, who had no idea his retirement ceremony had been the setting for discovering a massive espionage operation. I felt something break inside my chest, like my heart was fragmenting into tactical fragments. Patricia wasn't just a willing participant, she had endangered our father, a man who'd served his country with absolute integrity for 35 years. Patricia, how long has Rodriguez been threatening Dad? The question came out harder than I intended, with the edge of command authority that made subordinates snap to attention. But Patricia wasn't my subordinate. She was my sister, and she was destroying everything our family had built. Since last year, when I tried to stop providing intelligence, her voice cracked, and for a moment I saw the scared little girl who used to hide behind me during Dad's deployment briefings. He has photos of Dad meeting with defense contractors, financial records from Mom's cancer treatment that exceeded $2.3 million, and security clearance applications for our younger brother, Tommy, who was applying to the Air Force Academy.
Rodriguez had built a comprehensive leverage package against our entire family. He knew about Dad's consulting work with defense contractors, perfectly legal but potentially embarrassing if taken out of context. He knew about Mom's experimental cancer treatments that had required Dad to take private consulting fees to pay medical bills insurance wouldn't cover. He knew about Tommy's minor juvenile record from high school that could complicate his security clearance process. This wasn't just about Patricia. This was systematic targeting of the Mendes family to create a long-term intelligence asset. Patricia, listen to me carefully. From this moment forward, you're going to follow my instructions exactly. No deviation, no questions, complete operational compliance. Do you understand? She nodded, tears streaming down her face, but I could see relief in her eyes. For the first time in 3 years, she wasn't facing this alone. But what she didn't understand yet was that I wasn't just saving her. I was using her as the primary weapon to destroy Rodriguez's entire network. But Rodriguez had made his second critical error. He'd given us a 24-hour deadline, which meant he was expecting immediate intelligence about my current deployment. What he didn't know was that my current deployment was classified at a level above Patricia's clearance, and the only way to provide him with accurate intelligence would be for me to give it to her directly. That gave me operational control of exactly what intelligence Rodriguez would receive. At exactly 0830 hours, I activated the secure communication system in Dad's office and contacted Colonel Marcus Thompson. Marcus, I need immediate operational support for a classified counterintelligence mission. We have confirmed enemy contact and compromised American personnel. Request immediate deployment of your most trusted counterintelligence specialist to Peterson AFB. His response was immediate. Roger that, Colonel. ETA 1200 hours with full technical support. I turned to Patricia, who was still processing the fact that her little sister had just activated a special operations response to save her treasonous ass. Patricia, here's what's going to happen. You're going to contact Rodriguez and tell him you have real-time intelligence on my deployment. You're going to arrange a face-to-face meeting to transfer the information. And you're going to wear a wire while my team records every word he says and identifies every member of his network. Her face went pale as desert camouflage. Leticia, if he discovers I'm cooperating with American intelligence, he'll kill me, and probably our entire family. I could see the terror in her eyes, but I could also see something else. Hope. For the first time in 3 years, someone with the tactical skills and operational authority to end this nightmare was fighting for her instead of against her. Patricia, Rodriguez is going to die either way. The only question is whether he dies knowing you betrayed him or whether he dies thinking you're still his asset. Which option keeps our family safer? I watched her process the implications. She was intelligence trained, which meant she understood exactly what I was offering, a chance to flip the script and turn the hunter into the hunted. I spent the next 4 hours developing the most complex deception operation of my military career. Using my access to special compartmented intelligence, I created false deployment orders showing my unit being transferred to a fictional forward operating base in Jordan. The documents looked completely authentic because they were authentic. I'd simply modified real deployment orders by changing locations and operational objectives. Rodriguez would receive intelligence that looked legitimate, but would actually lead his weapons directly into the hands of Jordanian military forces loyal to the United States. At 1200 hours, Marcus arrived with 6 specialists from the 1st Special Operations Security Forces Squadron. Master Sergeant Diana Rodriguez, no relation to the target, Technical Sergeant Mike Johnson, Staff Sergeant Amanda Chen, Senior Airman Robert Martinez, Senior Airman Lisa Thompson, and Airman First Class David Park. Each one was handpicked for counterintelligence operations and had top-secret clearance with special access. More importantly, each one had personal experience with family members being threatened by foreign intelligence services. Colonel Mendes, we've been briefed on the general situation. What's the operational objective? Master Sergeant Rodriguez asked, her voice carrying the confidence of someone who'd executed similar missions in hostile territory. I spread the tactical plans across Dad's desk, showing communications intercepts, financial records, and the false intelligence package we'd prepared for Rodriguez. Primary objective: neutralize the arms trafficking network led by Miguel Rodriguez. Secondary objective: identify and arrest all American military personnel providing classified intelligence to hostile forces. tertiary objective: protect the Mendes family from retaliation while maintaining operational security. I looked each team member in the eye. This is personal, but it's also national security. Rodriguez's network has been responsible for the deaths of at least 17 American soldiers over the past 3 years. Technical Sergeant Johnson pulled out electronic surveillance equipment that looked like something from a science fiction movie. Colonel, we can wire Colonel Patricia for audio and video, track Rodriguez's communications in real time, and coordinate with FBI counterintelligence to arrest his entire network simultaneously. But we need to know, is Colonel Patricia fully cooperative or is she a flight risk? I looked at my sister, who was still processing the fact that her little sister had just activated a special operations response to save her treasonous ass. Patricia, the team needs to know they can trust you completely. Are you ready to risk everything to end this and save American lives? She stood up slowly, straightened her uniform, and for the first time in 3 years, I saw our father's moral courage in her eyes. I'm ready to serve my country again, even if it costs me everything. Her voice carried the conviction of someone who had found their way back to honor after years of compromise and fear. Master Sergeant Rodriguez smiled grimly and began unpacking surveillance equipment. Then let's go hunting. At exactly 1800 hours, Patricia sent Rodriguez the message that would begin the final phase of our operation. Have real-time intelligence on El Mendes deployment. High-value target information requires face-to-face transfer. Tomorrow, 2000 hours, usual location. The response came within minutes. Confirmed. Payment ready. Come alone. Rodriguez had no idea he was about to walk into the most sophisticated counterintelligence trap the United States Air Force had ever deployed against arms traffickers. I spent that evening reviewing every detail of the operation with Marcus's team. Patricia would wear audio and video surveillance equipment hidden in her uniform. Technical Sergeant Johnson would monitor communications from a van positioned 200 meters from the meeting location. Master Sergeant Rodriguez and Staff Sergeant Chen would provide overwatch with sniper rifles from elevated positions. Senior Airman Martinez would coordinate with FBI agents positioned to arrest Rodriguez's financial network simultaneously in 3 different cities. The meeting location was a parking garage at Denver International Airport, neutral territory that Rodriguez considered secure because of heavy civilian traffic and multiple escape routes. What he didn't know was that airport security had been briefed by FBI counterintelligence, and the entire garage was under surveillance by federal agents posing as travelers. Every entrance and exit was monitored, every vehicle was tracked, every communication was intercepted. At 1945 hours, Patricia walked into that parking garage wearing $100,000 worth of surveillance equipment and carrying false intelligence that would end Rodriguez's operation forever. I watched through real-time video feed as she approached the silver Mercedes where Rodriguez was waiting. He looked exactly like his FBI photos. Middle-aged, expensive suit, the kind of predatory confidence that comes from manipulating people's fears for profit. Colonel Mendes, you look nervous. This should be routine by now. Rodriguez's voice carried casual cruelty, like someone discussing the weather instead of treason that had killed American soldiers. I watched Patricia's vitals on the monitoring equipment. Elevated heart rate, increased respiration, but maintaining operational control. 3 years of coercion hadn't broken her military discipline. I'm nervous because this intelligence is different. My sister is being deployed to a location that could end the war in Syria. The target package includes chemical weapons facilities and the command structure for 3 terrorist organizations. Patricia's performance was flawless. She sounded like someone reluctantly providing intelligence worth millions of dollars while terrified of being caught. Rodriguez leaned forward, his greed overriding any operational caution. Show me. Patricia handed him the false deployment orders, and I watched his eyes light up as he scanned the fictitious target list. He was seeing dollar signs instead of recognizing the trap we'd built around him. This intelligence is worth 5 times our usual arrangement. $500,000, transferred immediately. That's when I gave the signal that ended Rodriguez's career and saved American lives. Execute, execute, execute. Simultaneously, FBI agents moved in from 6 different directions. Master Sergeant Rodriguez's sniper team provided overwatch security. Technical Sergeant Johnson jammed all communications in a half-mile radius. And federal agents in Chicago, Miami, and Los Angeles arrested 17 members of Rodriguez's financial network. Rodriguez's face went from greed to shock to terror in approximately 3 seconds. Colonel Mendes, what the hell is happening? But Patricia was already stepping back as federal agents surrounded his vehicle. What's happening is justice for every American soldier you helped murder, you piece of shit. For the first time in 3 years, my sister sounded like the Air Force officer our father had raised her to be. I watched through surveillance feeds as Rodriguez was taken into custody. His encrypted communications devices were seized, his financial accounts were frozen, and evidence of his arms trafficking operation was secured by federal agents. But the most satisfying moment came when he realized that the intelligence he'd just purchased would lead Syrian insurgents directly into a Jordanian military trap that would destroy their chemical weapons capabilities and arrest their leadership.
The operation was textbook perfect. Rodriguez's entire network was dismantled in coordinated arrests across 4 countries. The false intelligence we'd provided led to the destruction of actual terrorist resources without endangering American personnel. Patricia's 3 years of coerced cooperation became the foundation for the largest counterintelligence success in Air Force history. And every American soldier whose life had been endangered by leaked intelligence was finally safe. But the most important victory was personal. As federal agents led Rodriguez away in handcuffs, he screamed threats about destroying our family, exposing our father, and ruining our military careers. Patricia looked him in the eye and said, "Semper Fi, asshole. You picked the wrong family to threaten." Even facing life in federal prison, Rodriguez finally understood that he'd been outmaneuvered by someone who'd learned honor and courage from a 4-star general who never compromised his integrity. The aftermath was swift and comprehensive. Rodriguez was charged with arms trafficking, conspiracy to commit murder, espionage, and 18 other federal crimes carrying a combined sentence of 340 years in federal prison. His financial network, including the corruption ring within American military ranks, was completely dismantled. Colonel Michael Hayes, Major Sarah Chen, and Captain Robert Torres were court-martialed and sentenced to life imprisonment at the United States Disciplinary Barracks at Fort Leavenworth. Patricia faced her own reckoning with military justice. At her court-martial, she pled guilty to charges of providing classified information to unauthorized personnel, but received a suspended sentence in recognition of her cooperation in dismantling the arms trafficking network. She was allowed to retire with full honors, but had her security clearance permanently revoked. She accepted the consequences with the dignity our father had taught both of us. Dad's reaction was exactly what I expected from a 4-star general who'd spent 35 years upholding military values. Patricia made mistakes under extreme duress, but she did the right thing when it mattered most. Leticia showed leadership under impossible circumstances. Both of my daughters served their country when it counted. His pride in our final outcome meant more than any military decoration I'd ever received. The intelligence Patricia provided during the operation led to the arrest of 47 arms traffickers across 6 countries, the seizure of weapons that would have been used against American forces, and the prevention of terrorist attacks that could have killed hundreds of civilians. Her 3 years of coerced cooperation became the foundation for intelligence victories that saved countless American lives. 6 months later, I received the Distinguished Service Medal for exceptional meritorious service in conducting counterintelligence operations that resulted in the neutralization of threats to national security. The citation didn't mention that the threat had been my own sister, or that the operation had saved my family from destruction. Some victories are too personal for public recognition. Today, Rodriguez is serving multiple life sentences in ADX Florence, the federal supermax prison in Colorado, in a cell next to other terrorists who threatened American security. He'll never see daylight again, never threaten another military family, and never profit from American blood. Every morning when I put on my uniform, I remember that justice isn't just about following orders. Sometimes it's about protecting the people you love while serving something bigger than yourself. Patricia works as a civilian contractor for veteran services, helping military families navigate the bureaucracy of benefits and support services. She'll never wear a uniform again, but she's still serving American military personnel in her own way. Our relationship will never be the same, but we're both at peace with the choices we made when honor and family collided. The 12 American soldiers who died because of leaked intelligence are remembered on a memorial wall at Nellis Air Force Base. Their families know that their sacrifice led to the capture of those responsible and the prevention of future attacks. Staff Sergeant James Morrison, Technical Sergeant Maria Santos, Senior Airman David Kim, and 9 others died serving their country, and their deaths were not in vain. Want to hear from you? In my place, would you have done the same? Could you have orchestrated the arrest of your own sister to save American lives? Have you ever faced a situation where family loyalty conflicted with military duty? Tell me everything in the comments. As promised, I respond to every single one because every military family deserves to know they're not alone when facing impossible choices. The real victory wasn't just stopping Rodriguez or dismantling the arms trafficking network. The real victory was proving that honor, courage, and commitment aren't just words on military decorations. They're principles worth sacrificing everything to defend, even when the threat comes from the people you love most. In the end, that's what wearing the uniform really means: protecting something bigger than yourself, no matter the personal cost. Remember, if you're facing betrayal, corruption, or threats within the military community, resources are available. The Inspector General Hotline, military family life counselors, and veteran organizations like VFW and American Legion have programs to help military personnel navigate complex situations while maintaining honor and integrity. No one should face these challenges alone. And to every service member reading this, your oath matters, your integrity matters, and your willingness to do the right thing under impossible circumstances is what makes the American military the finest fighting force in the world. Stay strong, stay honorable, and never forget that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's doing what's right despite the fear. Huya, Ura, Semper Fi, and God bless every American in uniform who chooses honor over convenience, duty over comfort, and service over self. You are the guardians of freedom, and your sacrifice will never be forgotten.